Tech2sday, and it has been a while. And it's just been crazy at the office, so kindly forgive me for some of the challenges of not being around. But I'm here once again, and it's been a very nice week here in Southern California so far. It's been a little bit chilly. Yesterday was really cold. Today, I think we're supposed to have a high of 80s, which is nice. And for those of you on YouTube, thank you so much for being such great advocates. I'm going to adjust you a little bit better so you can see properly. But thank you so much for being part of my agenda as well. And for those of you on Instagram, if you don't follow us on YouTube, please go after this and we should be really good. Missed you as well, Tristan Evans 99, appreciate that. Hello, Dow Sutton DS, thank you so much for joining. When am I going to get a Mustang as Pro Street Florida or FL? We did have a Mustang for American Ford. We did build a 2015 EcoBoost when that first hit the scene. That car made 900 horsepower. Because of the turbo I chose, it was really powerful but really laggy. So it wasn't really a fun vehicle to drive with that 900 horsepower. I think we did like a 76 millimeter turbocharger on that, which was crazy. So that being said, it wasn't really fun. It was like really laggy and then light switch power, almost very super-like. But the one good thing it did is show the capability of that EcoBoost 4-banger, which is pretty nice indeed. Hello, Lufthansa, good seeing you. Supercar Sean, I am great. How are you, sir? Hopefully you're doing well. I see Mig R says, good day. BC, good to see you here on YouTube. Thank you so much, sir. Good seeing you as well. Good afternoon, R35, R13. Let's go, says Gasket Heads. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you indeed. Thank you, Mia Lamorne. I'm very fortunate. I have my mother's genes. So thank you so much for saying those kind words about my age. Let's see here. What's up, Lakers Nation, Mafia 50? Good seeing you indeed. Thank you so much. And so much has been happening. As you may have seen, I think it's still parked in the same place that Jonathan put it a moment ago. This and the Moby were at the recent Purist Group event in City of Industry, which is a toy drive. Sean and his team is Sean and Cody. Those individuals really put together this event where it helps thousands of children who are underprivileged get very nice gifts for the holidays. So those cars were on display there, which is great. I was very fortunate to be part of that at some level. And usually, I'm driving solo, but Jonathan, who's here with me, decided to take the bold trek of driving this monster, this 920 horsepower twin turbo over there, even though the brakes are not that great. But he was careful and we went there and back unscathed. Hello, 718 Mojito. Good seeing you. Thank you so much for joining indeed. Appreciate you. Motek N. Good seeing you, brother. How are you? For those of you who don't know Motek N here on Instagram, Motek N has a beautiful, as you may see from an N name, Veloster N, with a lot of beauty, a lot of technology built into it. It has rocking the Bisimoto intercooler as well that we did in conjunction with CSF. And just his car is actually one of my son's, if not my son's favorite vehicle. It just looks the part and performs. And he's asking, is Bisimoto going to get an Ioniq 5N? Give it a Bisimoto touch. I'm itching to get one. And that being said, long story short, my plan is to do that. So the Ioniq 5N, for those of you who don't know, is the EV version of the Ioniq 5 that is a performance setup. All-wheel drive, north of 600 horsepower, supposed to be a lot. And it's my goal to make it lots of fun as well. So stay tuned. I'm still pushing those buttons with our friends at HMA, and I'll see what we can do to get one of those and make an announcement accordingly. But that should be a lot of fun indeed, Kovold is asking, have you messed with those TE EV 200 AAs contactors? You can get them for, really? That is crazy. No, I haven't messed with those. And I'm curious, do those have an economizer built into it? I'm curious, Kovold. I'm gonna look into that. 25 bucks is great, especially for what we have to do. So for those of you who don't know what Kovold is talking about, he's talking about these TE contactors that are used extensively in EV builds. So yes, I'm surrounded by 2 turbocharged cars right now, but in front of me are a bunch of EV builds. And these contactors can be anywhere from $125 on average to about $600 each, depending on the amp capability. And even when I design components for high voltage charging, like when you do fast charging in EV cars, I've used contactors in those as well. And you can imagine just making a small setup can cost quite a bit in just contactors, which are glorified high performance relays. To have something that's $25 will make my life much easier, especially in the fast charging realm. So I haven't played with those. I'm gonna look into them. Are they new? Are they repurposed? I don't know. Kavolt, you've just been a wealth of knowledge. Fellow engineer, thank you so much for sharing that, and hopefully I can have some experience with that and give you some feedback as well. I may start off with fast charging stuff opposed to putting them as main contactors, especially since a lot of my builds can hover north of 800 amps in terms of draw. So that being said, I would want to play around with that in some not so demanding situations, which I think contactors inside a fast charging contactor box would be great. How I could be, wish I could be over by you. It's cold in Germany. I'm sure it's Van that it's really cold out there. Good seeing you, brother. Hopefully you're doing well all the way out in Germany. I know you do a lot of cool stuff with Porsches out there as well. Yes, I'm sure it's cold. I've had the unique opportunity of going to Germany in December and January as I make my way out to the Autosport show in the UK, and it's freezing. I don't know how you guys manage, but it's a good thing nonetheless. So that being said, I wish you some warmer time in Germany as time progresses as well. It was so fun. Oh, Jonathan is on here. So it's so much fun to drive. Well, Jonathan, I know you're here as well, but it'll be a lot more fun when we get that braking system going. That way you can really tip into it and have some fun. Plus, we also have to address some really cool cooling stuff for it as well, like improve the cooling, because it does tend to run a little warm. So we'll address that before we go and start having some more fun. It'll be nice to canyon carve in that thing indeed, you know? Humberto Machado, nice, says, consider doing my Lotus EXCG. They say that the turbos don't work well on this, but if anyone can do it, you can. As a matter of fact, thanks for the kind words, Humbo. Yes, it has been done. We've actually had an Exige here that was boosted with my neighbor who was a couple of doors down a couple of years ago. So it is possible. Those engines, do I want to give it away? I'll give you a hint, are very Toyota-like, I can say that. And those engines, we've had hardcore drag racers, road racers boost them with a lot of success. So it can be done. It's terrifying when you're done indeed, but it can be done. So yes, it can happen. The only challenge is I can only work on petrol cars or for off-road use only. I can't, unless you have something that's pre-smog. Anything new has to be off-road use only. We cannot touch anything that has any kind of emission controls tampered with if it's newer than 1975 here in Southern California. I hope to meet you as well, K Series 9. Appreciate the kind words. Appreciate you indeed. All right. Oh, Paulo Thomas Studio. Thank you so much for the kind words, all the way in Portugal. For those of you who do not know Paulo Thomas Studio, he's a great guy, and also this individual who is a talented concept artist. He sent me some things that I've seen through Instagram. I've seen his page as well. Check him out. He has a lot of great talent. And I appreciate him being part of my audience here on Tech Tuesday. Thank you so much, sir. The two cars are cool, says Lakers Nation Mafios 50. Right there is the Bisimoto Odyssey. And forgive me, because I've been kind of mums on this because I've been going crazy. But I'm gonna share with you, we're doing some really cool updates to this Odyssey that was built in 2013 for American Honda. It has been my most popular build to date. It's been on a ton of shows. It's had Hot Wheels made of it. It's been in video games. It's just a really, really cool vehicle. And it's really stood the test of time. It took us 7 weeks to build this. I'm trying to maintain some of that essence that shows the pain and blood and sweat and tears that went into it. So Jonathan and I are doing a good job in making it look still nice, but not super pretty, so it can still remind us of how challenging it was to build. This thing made 1029 horsepower years ago, runs on corn, which is great. And we're trying to find a way to make it even more efficient. So I'll give you guys some more updates on what's going on in this. That's how you can see it's a slight tilt going on because the vehicle's front is on stands and we're doing some really cool stuff. And right here is the 921 horsepower Bisimoto M16 935. You can see the dual headlights there. This is like kind of the United States answer to the Kremer K3 in Group 5 racing from the 70s and 80s. The car looks absolutely amazing. Initial design by Andy Blackmore. Was launched on the virtual SEMA event that Toyo put together, I think in 2020, which was great. So that being said, it's just a fun vehicle. Runs on bricks and Ford setups, has an action clutch, twin turbocharger with a fully billet, liquid air intercooler, just chock full of technology. So as many of you know, what the team and I love doing here is taking vehicles of historical significance and infusing modern and futuristic technology into them, which makes them a lot of fun, which is pretty cool, right? So that being said, that is what we're doing with that. And thanks so much. Kavolt answered my question. It says, yes, the EV200s have economizers built on board. Ready for 500 amps continuous is not bad. It's comparable in performance to those nice gigawatts, which is what I've used in the past as well. BMW uses them in their hybrids, so they're littered across. That Kavolt, what a waste. What a, how should I say? He is just a depository of knowledge. He really is a repository of knowledge, to say. So Kavolt, thank you so much for being so kind and sharing that information. I'm gonna play with them. I'll order some, check them out, and they're in junkyards and they're in hybrids. That means they're quite robust. So I'll let you know how they go. And I'm also curious about the failure rates that you've seen as well. I'm very curious indeed. So thanks for sharing that, as always. On a BC says R35, R13. On a Tesla Plaid, what is the max horsepower it can handle? No, none of us know yet. We haven't quite pushed those. So I am playing around with that power plant and do hope to see some really cool things coming out of it. Now, if Tesla continued with this newer rotor design that's carbon embedded, if their mindset continues on how they throttle back, I would say we have another 30% of power and efficiency lurking underneath those drive units. So the Tesla Plaid is kind of is Tesla's fastest setup. It makes 1020 from factory. In factory format, in factory form with the same factory street tires, it can run mid to low 9s. Where you lighten up the vehicle, you can get to high 8s without qualm. But knowing what Tesla typically does and how they tend to be extremely conservative with what their output is, I won't be surprised I can push that setup to about 1,300 horsepower. I will not be surprised. And with 1,300 horsepower, that can really dip nicely into 8s properly and give the new Lucid Sapphire Air a run for its money. So how can we find out? I haven't explored that yet, but we will make it happen sooner or later. Ghost VQ Boy is asking, will we ever see you in DDE? Will we see DDE in your videos again? And so for those of you who don't know, DDE is Daily Driven Exotics. The team of two good friends and more. They visited here a couple of times to be able to do some cool videos with us. The last time that we saw each other, they want to come out and play around with the pink car. So, let me reach out to Damon and see if he can come by. I haven't seen him recently except at SEMA, where we just talked in passing and he was quite busy. So let me see what I can do. Maybe I'll reach out to the team and we're gonna put out some new content, coming up. So thanks for bringing to my attention. I totally forgot about those chaps. Really good guys indeed. Lots of fun and we always have a good time. How hard is it to manual swap an 8th gen Accord J35? It is not impossible, but just a little challenging for two reasons. One, the engine mounts for the automatic are quite different from what you would see on the manual. So what I typically do, because it's very similar to what we did on the Odyssey here, right? With the J35, well, J35Y in this came with about 200 horsepower with the automatic transmission, which I think I still have up there in storage. I don't have to actually get rid of that. I'm not really doing anything with it. And the Acura TL Type S gearbox bolts up to that engine. So what you would have to do is remove, of course, the automatic transmission and all the accoutrements that are affiliated with that setup. The flex plate has to go, but the good thing is the motors are the same, so you can be able to bolt on a standard flywheel that you would see with the Acura TL Type S. I like the TL Type S because they already come with limited slip differentials in them already from factory, like the helical style LSDs, which are pretty nice and quite robust and just lots of fun. It takes away that peg leg opportunities in your setups, right? So you have the opportunity to use that one. You can use standard K-series shifter will work because you can have something floor mount. So you have to move the factory shifter. In terms of ECU, you have to do a couple of jumpers in there so that vehicle can be able to run without looking for that automatic shifter contactor opportunities. So sometimes you may leave it in neutral or drive all the time so that it can be able to start and drive off, which is not a problem whatsoever. In terms of having your reverse lights work or reverse cameras if you have it, it's the very same switch that you would see in your automatic can be easily transplanted into your manual. Axles could be a bit of a challenge, but there are many companies out there that can make custom axles for you or can mix and match and make something work. The biggest challenge you'll have if you need to do this, which you would have to, are custom mounts, which require some fabrication. And with that, and a proper clutch, like something from Action, you can have a good time with your manual swap and completely transform the driving capability and fun factor of your 8th gen Accord. It can be done. Pedal assembly, The quarter automatic has a little bit slightly different firewall. So what I've done, I'd use something like an aftermarket Wheelwood or CNC pedal assembly, or you can even use something from Hush Performance and modify it slightly and fabricate some brackets for a firewall, and then just run your own lines to the slave cylinder, and you're good to go. So like I said, we did that on the Odyssey. You can do it. It's not crazy difficult. It depends on your capability as a builder or a fabricator. You can make it happen. It's been a while as well, Vamp RR. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I had a lot of traveling to do and take care of some things personally, but nonetheless, I am back and you can see more of me as weeks progress. So thank you so much. Hello, Agusla33. Good seeing you. Thank you so much. Poland's in the house. Wow, I just got a package from Poland. Our friends from Carbon, Paul and his team sent us something very nice, which is so nice of him as well, because very soon we will have even a different car at the Peterson Museum on display. So he sent us some nice bits to be able to make that vehicle a little bit more appealing to those in attendance. Good afternoon to you, Dapper Dabber 710. My day is going well so far. Team and I are here working away, making things happen. So thank you so much. Respect to you as well, Tomoe. Good seeing you. Thank you so much. Is that an EV engine next to the van? Let me move over a little bit. Yes, it is. So what you see there, not the forklift, not the stand that's holding a blink charger, but right there is a Tesla. I'm sorry, I'm not pointing the right thing. For you on YouTube is right there. For you on Instagram is right there. That's a Tesla large drive unit. And that drive unit comes out of the rear of a P100D. Just to go along with someone who asked me earlier about the Plaid's capability, those engines put about, 490, close to 500 horsepower factory. But then after some modifications, it has capability of putting out 640 horsepower. So there's some opportunities there. So yes, R35, R13, that is an EV transaxle inverter and drive unit, I would say motor all in one. So I hope that helps. Good afternoon, Cypher Native. Thank you so much for joining, appreciate you. Milamo no es importante says, Clarksville, Tennessee got no emissions control. Create some mad EV ICE projects with emissions restrictions. Tennessee FTW, yes, that may be the case with your local jurisdiction, but you know who's messing with us recently? The people messing with us recently is the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. And the EPA is not a state, but a federally mandated organization. And that being said, they're the ones who've given all of us a hard time, no matter where you are. You have companies like Diesel Brothers, they're out of state in places where there are very minimal restrictions. Evans Tuning was back east in a state where there were no emission laws for the state, and he got busted by the EPA as well. There have been quite a few companies out there. So that being said, whether you're in California or in Tennessee, you have to be very, very careful when you start doing modifications that involve internal combustion engines, because Big Brother and the EPA are watching, and they will hit you with very nice fines, which is pretty sad indeed, That looks cool, says Vamp RR. Yes, it does. Thank you so much. Very efficient setup by all means. Having an electric motor with a transaxle and an integrated inverter as in one, it makes things very nice indeed. Jack DeMariam, brother, how are you, sir? So good to see you. For those of you who know Jack, what a great individual. He's a fellow Porscheophile, very great family man, dear friend, immigrant like myself, just a great individual. He has a place known as Scientific Porsche, does everything from modifications to general repair, and he puts together this wonderful event known as Zuffenhausen, which is near and dear to me for those of you on YouTube and those of you on Instagram and those of you listening to me on the podcast networks. Yes, I'm also podcasting as we speak. You can do a search on everything from Anchor to Google Podcasts to Podbean to iTunes to Spotify Podcast Now. And just do a search for Bisimoto and all this will come up. So you can listen to me while you're driving, in the loo, whatever you're doing. Anyway, back to Jack and his team. They have this event known as Zuffenhausen, which is all welcoming to all makes and models of Porsches, whether they're water-cooled and air-cooled. And why is that important to me? Because I got kicked out. I got kicked out of that very popular one that's out there that people tend to love, Luftgekühlt. I had a blue, I love blue cars, right? Blue Porsche, right? But it wasn't the Miami blue. It's like a electric blue, Bisimoto electric blue, Aroc Tribute, which was beautiful. And people took tons of pictures and we're going to the book. And then someone kind of said, he has a water-cooled Porsche power plant in that. Once again, me having the opportunity to put in modern technology, the cars. And I got busted and I got kicked out. I was asked to leave. And that made me very sad. And there are quite a few of us who have really cool projects that pay homage to Porsche's technology and beauty. And we weren't allowed to go to events like Luftgekühlt, and Jack came to rescue, put together these beautiful events. We've done everything from Santa Anita Park all the way to the beautiful City Hall in Pasadena, and he's had other locations as well that have just been just as good. And there's so much great variety and camaraderie and love that goes in those events. So Jack, thank you so much, brother, for being that individual to allow us to be better and for just creating an environment that can allow us all to thrive, whether we are purists or hardcore gearheads. Appreciate you indeed, brother. Would you do a Toyota G-Wagon? Absolutely, without qualm. I'll have no problem working on those whatsoever. I love things that are unique and not so common, you know? Warning about the EV200, says Kovo. They're a little fragile. Basically, if you ever have to force open a high amp, consider them consumed. Make sure they're easy to replace in your designs. That's good to know. Wow. And more reason why I think using them in, let's say, a CHAdeMO application, which I think the most I'll push through a CHAdeMO setup, maybe 50 amps, you know, something like that, maybe good. Oh, no, 50 amps. 50 amps would be nothing, wouldn't it? I would say the most I'll push through that, maybe something like 50 kilowatts would be ideal. So it's not so bad. There are other setups with CCS that go up to 350. The Tesla stuff can go up to 150, 175. But yeah, that's good to know. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the input on that as well. Once again, I appreciate your insight, my friend. 83TD from Wellington, New Zealand. Thank you so much for joining us from all across the pond. Appreciate you and all the cool stuff you guys do out there. My pleasure indeed, R35, R13. Appreciate that. The 9EJ1EG from YouTube says, I would like to build a 350 horsepower single cam that can you help? What parts should I get? So, can you do that naturally aspirated? I wasn't successful. The highest I was able to get a D series to the wheels was 236 horsepower. And that's naturally aspirated. To be able to get to a single cam D series to 350 comfortably and reliably, you would need some type of force induction. As you can imagine, the one key way to making power in an internal combustion engine is to get as much air as possible in the engine with an appropriate amount of fuel and ignite properly. So the one way to get a lot of power is to force induce. And you can either use supercharging, which is great, has very limited lag, but also consumes energy from the crankcase to be able to allow you to create the power. In other words, there's a direct cog to the crankshaft that spins a turbine that gives you opportunity to be able to do some really cool stuff, right? But turbocharging is a little easier. And allow me the opportunity to pull something and show you what I mean. So, this is a turbocharger. Okay, so this is a Garrett turbocharger. This is known as the compressor side, okay? And you see this little, like kind of fan looking thing in here, that little blade right there? That is a compressor wheel. And when it turns, it does a good job of compressing air and pushing air into your engine. But in a supercharger, how this air is being compressed is the back part is connected to a belt that goes to your crankshaft. And the more that you turn, the crankshaft turns, the more that it turns this wheel. And the cool thing about that is because your engine is always moving at rest and when you're driving off, there's always this opportunity to build boost quite immediately, right? So you have this direct cog, and the faster in RPM you go, the more you have the opportunity to build more and more pressure and more and more power. Excuse me. On turbochargers, it's a little different. You have this assembly, which is known as a turbine. And this is the entryway to your exhaust. So your exhaust gases from your engine goes into this, spins the wheel on the turbo, and the exhaust gases come out from here. So it's pretty cool because in a way, you are actually using spent energy in terms of heat and gas velocity to create power in your engine that typically would be wasted by heat or sound outside of your car in a naturally aspirated setup. That gas that moves into that turbine is then now actuating this turbine wheel, which, as you can see, has a bolt and a direct cog to the turbo itself. So in this case, this is a Garrett turbo. You may see these kind of cool surge ports. We'll get into that some other time because that's another technology insight why that's required as well. But this is a very nice way to make power on your single cam D series. So what you would typically do, especially for 350 horsepower, if you're a bit of a gambler, you can get away with 350 horsepower on a stock engine. We're just upgrading your springs retainers, and camshaft. You can get away with that, but the weak part of the D-Series engine are the connecting rods and sometimes the ring length, depending on the health of the engine. So here is a really straightforward way to make power with your D-Series. Upgrade your rods. We can help you with that if you need to. Upgrade your pistons. We can help you with that as well. There's a company called Tram that uses our pistons, and you can keep your factory block. You don't have to sleeve it for 350 horsepower. Nice to do, but not a need to do. For camshafts, you can do a Bisimoto level 2.4, and if you're on a tight budget, you can get away with just valve springs as long as you don't do a ton of racing. With that, an engine management solution, you can boost your heart's content, and with, let's say, something that won't be super laggy, 350 horsepower, you can probably get away with a 57 millimeter turbo, something that small range, that can give you that power with a little bit room to grow and not be as laggy as it needs to be. A T3 flange would be ideal. You can probably use a 0.64 AR volute. And what that volute is kind of the ratio between this section and the section inside. So the smaller this is, as you can imagine, the higher the velocity of the gases to spool your turbo quickly, but also it can create some back pressure. The bigger it is, the slower or longer time it will take for the velocity to build up for you to spin the turbo, but you can make a lot more power because your back pressure goes down and it won't be as challenging. So that being said, those are some of the opportunities that you have in making power. If you know more insight, let us know, and I'd be more than happy to help. All right, hello, Funky Oshie. Good seeing you. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you. What did I miss here? I missed so much. You need to bring your cars to Wings and Wheels in Upland at Cable Airport. I love the Cable Airport. This Sunday, oh, it's gonna be tough. I do have commitments to the family. God, there's so much going on because I'm filming on Saturday and Sunday I have commitments. If I can make it out, I'll try, but I love going to Cable Airport. It's really fun. And Upland is not too far from me because I just moved recently to San Dimas. So it's a stone throw from me. I'll see what I can do. It's such a nice place because the planes are out there. You can allow you to do some photo shoots with planes. And there's nothing cooler than one of your cool project cars that are fast next to a plane. It's so dope, right? Anyway, we'll see what can happen. All right, let's see here. Bisimoto, can I go live with you? I have some questions for you. So this is kind of, thank you so much, Lucky Life, for asking for that opportunity. Maybe we can do something a little bit later, but this one is really relegated to individuals who have questions about technology, life, and so on and so forth. So maybe we can do something else, but I need to stay true to the purpose and the concept of this particular Tech Tuesday. So forgive me, my brother. My brothers, BC says one fast 4G, good seeing you. Long time no speak. Hopefully you're doing well on this lovely sunny Tuesday. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work, says Victor Obidiegu. But like, not there, one day. Well, so Victor Obidiegu is someone who is a relative to my mom, who's an Obidiegu. That's her how should I say, knee, or better yet, her pre-marriage name, which is nice, right? So that being said, Victor, thank you so much. Ndewo, ngabata otego mlota nuno. One day ngabata no need me ila hopefully all is well. Thank you, Esmongo. Appreciate you indeed. Okay, let's see here. Bonjour, Stefan. No, Stefan Sonzi. How do you say it? Stefan's Onization. Onization? Onization. I think so. Thank you so much, brother. Bonjour. I don't know if you're in Cameroon or France or Belgium, wherever you are, or you're in the US. Appreciate you joining us this Tech Tuesday. The new Honda EV Civic is cool. Are in the works? Yes, so Ryan is building one right now, all-wheel drive. We're helping with that a little bit. As for those batteries that came from this facility. So it's in the works. It should be launched by SEMA next year. So it is coming indeed. Turkey's in the house, courtesy of Seva Hero Official 35. I think I have another comment here from YouTube. I see Carbon Fiba says, I always love the way Pro Chargers sound with the constant whoosh sounds and blow-offs. Makes it an event all the time. Yes. So that's something else that I like about kind of those motors back there. The electric motors, at least the performance ones that we play with here at Bisimoto, have a supercharger whine too. There's something really cool and intoxicating about a nice supercharger whine. And the Pro Chargers sound just mean, especially since a lot of them have a direct cog belt instead of like a slipper belt. And then since they constantly build boost, even when you tip and slide, you always have that shh or tss or chew, depending on what kind of blow-off valve you have. Yes, blow-off valves are also involved in supercharger applications as well. And we can get into that in another Tech Tuesday, by all means. Thanks so much, says Da9EJ1EG. My pleasure indeed. If you need more, write to us at sales@bisimoto.com and we'll get you going. No problem whatsoever. What kind of car is in the back? The baby blue one says BG Slim the Great. That is a Porsche 935 M16. It's a wide body twin turbo. We do drive these around, but they were originally designed for track duty only in terms of body. Years ago, Porsche had this particular type of race car known as the 935 that they built for Group 5 racing. Extremely successful setup that they had that was really pushing the envelope when it came to 930s, which was the Porsche Turbo 911s. They were air-cooled in nature, but most of them had water-cooled heads to allow for the best track opportunities. They broke tons of records. The only challenge is that Porsche was very selective with who they sold those cars to. And you had other tuners like Kramer who said, hey, you know what? If Porsche won't sell to everyone, we'll build cars and sell. And Kramer came out, competed quite nicely against the factory teams, did well. And other companies came out and other builders decided to build their own versions. And before you knew it, there were a variety of 935s out there, which ended up with the 935 Moby Dick, which is the Moby X that we built as a homage to that. So that being said, this is one of those. This is the American version, not from Germany, here in the United States, the M16. So you can look it up if you'd like to read more. Just type in through your Google searches, Porsche 935 M16. And yeah, you do a lot. I agree with you, Lakers Nation Mafia 50. That is sad, but a lot of manufacturers do that. Ferrari still does that to today. If you want to buy a certain Ferrari, you have to be vetted per se, or be a Ferrari owner for so long in great standing, so which is pretty sad. Breed XO, what's up, brother? He just said Bisimoto. XO is my good friend Xavier, who is fantastic. Him and I met each other as far back as, wow, 1993. And we used to race quite a bit at Terminal Island. He had this crazy four-door Integra, which, put it this way, in 1994, he had a 95 Integra. Took off the fuel injection, went dual carbed on it and nitrous, and was racing. And it was this nice kind of a, what color can I call that? It's like a, I would say cocoa, but like a metallic brown. And it almost looked like Dr. Pepper. So he kind of called himself Dr. Pepper, had a Dr. Pepper sticker on the hood. It was really cool. And we used to terrorize people all on the streets and the track of Southern California and street racing too. So good seeing you, brother. Hopefully you're doing well. I think you're out there in Vegas. I'll be out there sometime early in the year for CES. I would love to get together with you, brother. Hopefully you're doing well, you know? Any experience, says Mick R from YouTube, with the Nissan KA24DE Turbo? Yes, I have. I have not had the opportunity to build one myself, but I've had a couple of 240s come here back in the day, race cars to tune. Will Watangiri from WR Technica was probably the second person to bring one of his. And yes, we've tuned those, and then the ECU of choice with the AEM Series 2. So yes, those have a lot of potential and can be quite reliable if you choose the correct parts indeed. Well, guys, it's been a slice of heaven. I do have to depart. I appreciate all of you for joining me on this particular Tech Tuesday. I look forward to seeing you next week, hopefully in a very nice location. Not that ours is not nice, but I'd like to do something really special for all of you, my friends and family from all around the globe. Those of you who haven't followed me on YouTube, please do after this. We also have some really good content coming up very soon. Talking about the Plaid, we did some really crazy modifications, Jonathan and I want to be able to put that up and have you guys know what's going on here at the facility. So in the meantime, look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care, stay safe, and cheers. Bye-bye.